Hello, everybody. I am back. Of course, I am back. What choice do I have? Welcome, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Yvonne Ventura. You are here in Yvonne Ventura's house. This is my channel. I am your host, Yvonne Ventura, where I talk about all things media, be it books, movies, music, pop culture events, what have you, and occasionally put on my makeup from time to time. If you like disorganized ramblings and that sort of content, then feel free to like, subscribe, share, join my cult. We are officially 66 strong. Gang, gang. If you get me to 100 subscribers, I promise you I will eat 12 tacos in one sitting. And I will have a special guest here to tell really embarrassing stories about me. And I will just sit here and turn the color of my sign. So today, what do I have for you? I had a wonderful night last night. I went out with two of my really good friends. We had a delicious dinner at Olive Garden. I put away a whole tour of Italy and the pasta e fagioli and one breadstick because, you have to have a breadstick. I put that in my gut. I went to go see, drum roll, what do you think I went to see? I went to see stars this dude who says he'll hold my things, baby girl, and it stars this other fool over here. Hold on. This other fool over here who could hold my things all day. So, what did I watch, y'all? I watched The Materialists, starring Chris Evans, Pedro Pascal, and Dakota Johnson, directed by Celine Song. So, I am here to give you my thoughts about the movie. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. I'm gonna try my best to give you like the short review for those of you that haven't seen the movie yet, and then I will go ahead and divulge spoilers in the next part of this video if I can talk. So if you just want to know my score and like my initial thoughts, feelings, musings, observations, then just watch the first part. But if you want to hear me go into the nitty gritty and borderline retell the movie to you because you don't necessarily want to see it, keep watching. So the movie is about Dakota Johnson, who plays a character named Lucy. She's a matchmaker, and she essentially doesn't want to fall in love, doesn't want to be married because she thinks she's going to die alone, and the only way that she'll get married is with a rich man. So now introducing Harry, played by Pedro Pascal, who is a gajillionaire, and her ex-boyfriend John, played by Chris Evans, who is a 37-year-old struggling actor in New York City, who still lives in a crusty, dusty old apartment with roommates, and he still can't really make ends meet. So this movie, I initially went in there. I don't know if there's any fellow rom-com fans out there, but have you all seen that movie with Reese Witherspoon, Tom Hardy, and Chris Pine? I think it's called This Is War, or This Means War. So essentially, I thought the movie was going to be something like that, where she was dating both of the dudes, and she had to come to a decision, either one or the other, right? That This movie is not really that. So it's not really funny, okay? It's not because I would say that this is absolutely like a drama. There aren't really like there isn't a lot of levity to the film. There are some like moments of levity, but overall you're just watching Dakota Johnson as Lucy go to work, talk to her clients, and hang out with Harry, then stop hanging out with Harry, and then hang out with John, and then the movie ends. So pacing wise, I won't say that the movie was hard to follow. The movie was actually relatively easy to follow. You could figure out what was going on with the plot, But what I will say is, I had a hard time figuring out the timeline in between scenes, because there were just moments that felt like there may have been a time jump, because there were just like it just, like, one minute they barely know each other, the next minute like things are very established, and you're just kind of wondering if there's what happened in between, how much time has passed, is this just something that's moving really quickly, like you just, it just was hard to kind of, me as a viewer, um understand the timeline of it all. I also um will say that the performances, okay, let's get into the performances without revealing any plot points. Dakota Johnson, how do I say this as politely as possible? To me, she just always sounds like she's reading. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't act in a way that follows normal human speech patterns. Um, is there anything I have written down that I could potentially uh, read to you to kind of say something? No, no, I can't read anything to you, but it just, it just doesn't, she just doesn't follow natural speech patterns. I don't know how else to say it. Like you can tell exactly where the comma is in the script, exactly where the period is in the sentence. It's very like she memorized this script and she is reading it exactly as she like is told where to pause. And there's not enough, like there's not a lot of emotiveness in her performance, and that is a, unfortunately, a gripe I've had with her for several films now. um it just, her performance just doesn't, it's not, it just, it essentially, it kind of sinks the film. Like I know what the film is trying to do and trying to convey, but when you have a, unfortunately, an actress that performs in this way, your message is getting lost, or your message is not cheapening, but it just isn't as impactful as it would be had you had somebody that could deliver a nuanced dimensional performance, like maybe a Margot Robbie, or um who else is actually, he's really talented and young right now, or like a Jenna Ortega. Like I think that she's able to kind of perform. I don't know, it just, it just wasn't, it just, her performance wasn't it, y'all. I'm sorry. It wasn't it. Is her performance ever it? I don't know. I don't know, because I honestly just don't, I don't, I don't understand why she delivers her lines that way. It makes it very obvious she's reading a script. It makes it takes you out of the movie, because you're just looking at her recite lines. Okay? Like and then Pedro Pascal, he looks great. First of all, looks fantastic. His line delivery's all right. I will say his character isn't necessarily written with that much depth, so you don't really know much about him at all. There is a reveal about him, like toward, is it even the climax of the film? Oh well, whatever. Like there's a reveal. Um, Again, it just kind of falls flat, not necessarily because of Pedro's performance, more so because he's working with, unfortunately, Dakota Johnson, who just, like, it just all falls flat. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. People, hate me all you want. I just I just am not convinced by Dakota Johnson's performance in the slightest. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Um Chris Evans, I have a very big soft spot for the man, and I do believe he knows how to. He can act. Okay, he's talented. His choice in movies is not necessarily the best at times, but I would say he did a very good job um, with his part in this movie. I think out of the three, he probably was my favorite. Yeah, I think he was my favorite performance out of the three of them. Um, it just the pacing was odd. Dakota's performance was odd. Um, there were some things in the movie where I just there were things that were brought into the movie that I just felt like I don't like everything just kind of fell flat. Like there were plot points that were brought up that could have been played with more, that were just essentially there to like as a plot device to like move relationships forward, when there was probably more that could have been done with the scenes. Um it didn't feel long. It just didn't shine for me. Like, when you see movies, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but when you see movies like Sinners, where you are just sitting there and you're engaged and you're like in rapture, like you're just in it. Materialists didn't do that for me. So it just, it, it wait for it to come out on streaming. You don't necessarily need to go out and see it in movie theaters. I'm sorry, Chris Evans. I know I went to go see it on your birthday. I know that I am a supportive fan and I went because I adore you. And I'm telling people. Oh, please forgive me, Chris Evans. There's just, I just feel like it wasn't it. It wasn't it. Um, I know that this is gonna be a Pedro Pascal summer, so this movie, I will say, spoiler, non spoiler, if you're in it hoping to see Pedro Pascal the entire movie, that's not gonna happen for you. You know what you will see though? You will see Dakota Johnson the entire freaking time. You will. You will. You'll see her talking in the exact same way to every single person she talks to. Exactly the same. I don't know what to tell you. So you'll see her just reciting lines for 2 hours. Um, so I mean, that said, unfortunately, I'm gonna give the movie a 6 out of 10. Like, I again wait for it to come out on streaming. It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't it. It wasn't it. It was better than Another Simple Favor that's on Amazon Prime. Jesus, Blake Lively, Anna Kendrick. I don't know what you guys were doing. That movie's terrible. It's better than that. Like, I will say, it's very well shot. It looks pretty. I could understand what the director was trying to do with the movie, but I just feel like casting wise, it just, when is the industry going to learn that Dakota Johnson cannot carry a film by herself? She needs something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe give her like a movie where she plays like a soulless android and all you hear is her voice. Maybe that will work. Because her trying to pretend to be a human being does not. I feel so bad saying that, but there's a lot of talent out there, okay? There is a lot of talent, and I'm not saying that I could have done it any better, but there's other people out there, right? There's other pretty girls that could, who would have been excellent? The girl, what's her name? Oh my god. Um Simone Ashley. The one that was the one of the Sharmas, the one that ends up with Anthony Bridgerton in the second season of Bridgerton. I think that she's number one, she's beautiful. And number two, I think that she would be able to deliver the sort of or like the sort of performance that was needed to touch on some of the themes of the movie. Because there were like here's the theme of the movie, and Dakota's like right here. Just like, eh, 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 eh. And like I just feel like something was missing. There's something missing in this movie. Like something's missing in me. I feel it deep within me as lovers are meant to bleed. That's a song called Missing by Flyleaf. So again, I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. If you wanted to know my thoughts, wait for it to come out on streaming. If you want to go hang out with your girls and go watch cute boys on screen, fine, go ahead. I had a great time looking at cute boys and making cat calls at Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. But that was about it. So, are you guys ready for me to retell it? I'm going to let the folks that just wanted to hear what I had to say go away. Bye, guys. Hello to all of my chismosos and chismosas alike that want to hear me retell the movie, essentially, so that you don't have to go. I did this for you. Kind of selfishly, I also did it for me. I wanted to see the boys. So Lucy's a matchmaker. She has married 9 people. So she's set up 9 couples, and 9 of those people have gotten married. So she's a very celebrated matchmaker. You learn that she makes 80 grand a year. She talks a lot about money, and she keeps saying, "Yeah, it's math. It's just math. You're rich, you're tall, you're handsome, you're okay." Exactly how I'm delivering it. That's what it is. Okay. It's just really wooden, man. Like I don't know. I don't know if she's what kind of performance she's trying to give, and like as somebody on the spectrum, like yes, sometimes I can fall into a very monotone speech pattern, but I still like know how to animate. I still can be pretty expressive. I still have thoughts and feelings. So I'm not sure what's happening with Dakota. Again, was she an android? Potentially. Um so she gets to go to her 9th wedding, right? So she goes to that wedding. And the best man happens to be Pedro Pascal playing Harry. And he looks sexy. He does. Does look sexy. He puts the moves on her, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think you want to date someone like me. No, I don't think that I'm good enough for you. No. Why do you want to see me?" Like I'm like, what the mm. I don't know. I don't know what needed to happen, but it didn't happen. So anyway, he convinces her to go on a date, okay? He convinces her to go on a date. He's rich as all shit. So he takes her and pays for all of these expensive meals, and the only things you know about Harry's personality is that he's rich and pays for things, and that he gets her flowers. Um I don't see any emotional connection whatsoever, but um they're having hanky panky. She's staying the night with him. So here's the thing where I talk about weird timing. They go on one date, right? And then, she goes back to work and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing Harry." And they're like, "Oh, they describe him as being a unicorn because apparently he checks all the boxes." So he checks all the boxes, right? Um, and they're like, "He's a unicorn, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, I know." Like, bitch. Ah! Okay, so it checks all the boxes. They go on one date, and then they go on another. And he essentially is like, "You want to be my girl?" And I'm like, wait. How many dates have passed? Like, what's happening? He's like, "You want to be my girl?" And she's like, "Okay." And they have hanky panky in his $12 million penthouse. All right. So while this is all going on, she's also still actively talking to her ex boyfriend named John, played by Chris Evans, who coincidentally was working the wedding that she met Harry at as a, like, what is it? Caterer, as whatever. This guy. He one with the tray. He was doing that. He talks to her. He tells her, "Yeah, I'm still broke. I'm still a bum, baby, but I'm still into you." And she's like, "Yeah." No, not even like that. Not even like that. She goes, "Yeah. Um, let me know when your play's in town. I'd love to see it. Or like something stupid like that. So anyway, he's starring in a play soon. So after she has hanky panky with Harry, she gets a phone call from, I was gonna call him Larry, John. She gets a phone call from John. He goes straight to voicemail and he's like, "Hey boo, my play's gonna be doing pre-shows next week if you want to drop in and watch." And she's like, "Okay." And so then she continues working. All the while, you see a montage of her clients. There is one in particular named Sophie, that is 39. She's pretty, but she just can't seem to find the right guy. So Lucy pairs her up with some guy named Mark, who on paper checks all the boxes. And he's tall, he's handsome, and he's a doctor, and he just wants a nice girl to spend time with. So um that so she's cool with that. She's so the next morning after having a hanky panky with Harry, she calls Sophie to see how that date went because they were going to be on dates at the same time. Sophie doesn't answer. She calls the other guy, his name is Mark, and Mark is like, "Yeah, I had a great time. I'd be down to see her again if she would like." "Yeah, cool, cool, cool." So all right, so Lucy goes to work. She goes to work. Her boss calls her into the office, and okay, this scene pissed me off. Okay, scene pisses me off. Let me tell you why. So she sits in the office and they're like, "Lucy, have a seat." She's like, "Okay." That made me look like I was 600 pounds. The stand that I use for my phone is actually pretty small, so it's not me, okay? I swear I'm not 600. I am a third of that, okay? Okay, so she sits down, right? And her boss is like, "Hey, um, Sophie was assaulted last night by Mark. Um, she's trying to sue us. Don't reach out to her. Don't say anything. Keep this in the company. Don't go running your mouth, right? It's a sensitive thing." And so Dakota Johnson's literally just sitting there like, "What? No. No, he checked all the boxes. Mark? Mark did that?" Okay, I feel like I'm almost putting in too much emotion in here. Just there's just it's like people around her are just acting with a wall, okay? And so like for somebody to just find out that one of your clients has been assaulted on a date that you sent her on, you're really giving us nothing, okay? She's giving us nothing. But granted, there is a scene after that where she runs into the bathroom and opens her journal or whatever, where she has her list of all of her clients and what they say, like their profiles essentially that she's written down, and she rips out Mark's page and she's crying on the toilet. But like, cool, you can do that by yourself, but what happens when you're interacting with other people? Where is this? Where is this when you're talking to people? So that happens, and now she and Harry, for some reason, she's taking Harry with her, because now he's her boyfriend, after going on 2 dates. They go to see John's performance, and then they go to they go to an after party, and John's like, "Hey, what's wrong with you, Lucy? You don't look right." And she's like, "I'm fine." And she's like, "Nah, man." He's like, "No, you don't look right. What's going on?" And then they get into the weirdest fight. Again, didn't really feel like a fight. And also, oh, she dumped John years ago because he was broke. Okay, so apparently she's shallow. Okay. Um, Again, things that don't necessarily matter because so they get into a mini argument, right? And uh She leaves, and then she doesn't tell Harry what's going on. And like, as some like, I'm like, I thought you guys are dating. Wouldn't you want to tell your new partner, like, hey, I've been through some shit? She doesn't. Harry just shows up, pays for shit, and then he like disappears. Like, that's literally all he does. And then um you go, and the story progresses, and so she's so stuck on Sophie, you wouldn't know it from how she's been emoting, but apparently she's supposed to be so stuck on Sophie. Oh, her boss lays her off for 4 weeks because of burnout or some shit. Okay, yeah, that happens. So she's technically on a break from work, and she um, goes on Sophie's social media and does some creepy shit to find out where Sophie lives. So then this bitch goes and stands on the curb or whatever, and then Sophie comes out, and then this is another part that pissed me off. Not not because of the plot, but just because performances. And so Sophie's like, no, like she goes off, she's crying, like she's got tears, her lips are quivering, like she's giving a performance, man. She's really going there. Whoever played Sophie, you are talented. This is fantastic. You did it really well. Um, and so again, this very talented girl is acting against a wall because she's like, I can't believe you would do that to me. You sent me there. You think I'm worthless. Like all of these cool, like all of these strong statements, right? With tears, lips quivering, you can feel the rawness of the trauma that she has just experienced. She tells you what happened to her, not graphically, but she tells you what Mark did to her. And she, tells Dakota, like, F you. And all that Dakota keeps, not Dakota, all that Lucy just keeps doing is going, he, I didn't know. He, he checked all our boxes. He said, he said everything that made it seem like you were a strong match. And it's like, girl, oh, get out! Oh my god! Had they switched places, like let Lucy and like let Dakota Johnson play the Sophie character. Like maybe then we would have gotten like more, like we would have gotten some magic in this movie. So this whole assault plot line or subplot is supposed to it's supposed to shatter Lucy's foundation and what she believes in. It's supposed to make her jaded and unhappy and not believe in matchmaking anymore. But you don't really pick that up in the performance, which is really frustrating. Um, and so that happens, and then you go back to Boink and Harry, or not even Boink and Harry. Harry's in the shower, and she's at Harry's house. No, wait. No. Okay, no. Sophie yells at her, tells her to go F herself, and then Lucy goes home and drinks some beers, and she's sitting on her porch smoking like this, like. Am I looking more? I'm probably looking more sad than her. So she's sitting there, and then guess what? You know who she calls? Not Harry. John. She calls John, and she's like, John, I screwed up. And John is like, oh yeah, I'll listen. What's going on? And she's like, she doesn't even like flat out say what happened. She just says, I sent my client on a date, and something bad happened to her, and it's all my fault. So, but even then, like I get, like she is crying, and like she's making shaky sounds with her voice, but I unfortunately do not believe her. And again, had it been somebody with the capacity to convey emotional depth, these scenes probably would have hit harder. So then he's like, "Do you want to come over? Do you want me to go see you?" And she goes, "No, I'm actually about to go to Harry's." Okay, whatever. So she goes to Harry's, right? Harry's taking a shower. She looks through his suitcase because they're supposed to go on a trip together. Um, and she finds an engagement ring in his suitcase. Bitch, what? I've seen you for 2 dates. Two and a half, because then you went to go see a play together. And there's a ring in the suit. How much time has passed? Can somebody tell me how much time theoretically has passed? Because I cannot process what the hell happened. Okay. So she freaks out. He gets out the shower. I'm assuming more. Okay, there's no sex scenes in this movie. I'm just assuming hanky panky happens because they're naked in the bed. Implied nudity, actually, not even nudity. Um, so they're in bed now. She's in bed with Harry, and then she moves the sheet and she sees a scar on his shin. And Harry wakes up and looks at her, and he abruptly gets up out of bed and he runs into the kitchen, and you just start hearing him. Okay, you start hearing him. What sounds like he like sets down some glass, he puts down some ice, he's serving himself drinks, right? And then you go to the kitchen, and the kitchen is completely clean. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you saw this movie and you saw a glass of alcohol somewhere, please educate me. Tell me that I wasn't. Again, at this point, Dakota Johnson's performance had removed me from the film, so I was just looking at everything. Okay, I wasn't even really in the story anymore. And so we find out that Harry was not naturally 6 feet tall, that he went somewhere to Timbuktu, got his femur bones broken and stretched so that he could grow, and he grew 6 inches tall. So he was originally 5'6". Um, okay, sir, that's fine. So then they have this really strange conversation where he's like, "Do you see me differently?" And she's like, "No, but I don't think we should be together." Like, not about, it's just like, it's not about the leg thing, I swear. I just don't, we just don't love each other. And I think that we should love each other. And he's like, "But weren't you just saying that marriage is like a business transaction? I'm rich. I can provide for you." And she's like, "Yeah, but I don't, I don't know." So then, just that quickly, like that, date, I'm gonna say 3 because they had 2.5. No, she had 2.5 scenes with the man, and then they have this scene after she finds the ring in the suitcase. Which, again, who knows how much time has passed? Is he just moving quickly? Sepa Dios, we'll never know because we don't have any indication of how many days have passed. Honestly, other than her being in a bed from time to time. Okay, let's move on. So they break up, and she uh immediately shows up at John's doorstep, and she's like, "Hey, can I stay with you? I rented out I rented out my place for the week I was supposed to be on that vacation with Harry, and I just broke up with him." And so he's like, "So you were staying you no. You can't stay in my house. It's dumb." And she's like, I've lived there before." And he's like, "Yeah, but like the hell." And then they end up driving upstate and crashing a wedding. And then they dance together, and then they make out. And then he's like, "What are we? Are you just using me?" And then she's like, "No, it's not that." And so they have this argument where they don't even know what they are, right? And then she gets a phone call from Sophie saying that Mark is outside of her apartment building trying to get in and like probably do harm to Sophie. And so she's like, I'm I'm about an hour from Manhattan. I'll get to you as soon as I can. Yeah. You know what? She might be good at ASMR. Maybe not acting. Maybe acting's not her thing, but I think she would be excellent as like an ASMR like artist. So John drives Lucy to Sophie's house, and Lucy comforts Sophie. They make amends, and then the next morning, she comes out of Sophie's apartment, and John's because just sleeping on the front steps, and then they decide that they're gonna get married, and the movie ends. Yes, friends, that's how it ends. I don't. I just feel like where scenes cut were like the plot just felt very clunky. Okay, it did. The plot felt very clunky. Um, the using sexual assault as a plot device and not even giving it the proper care or attention that it just properly deserved really turned me off about the film. Um, More so because the director didn't, not the director, but whoever was working that movie saw that Dakota wasn't, Miss Johnson wasn't giving it the proper tone that a subject matter like that deserved, and they just were like, it's fine. I don't know. This movie just. Am I gonna watch it again? Probably not. Um, I truly hope, because this is Pedro Pascal and Austin Butler's summer, I hope that the other movies that Pedro is going to be in this summer, Eddington and Fantastic Four, I hope that those are better. You will probably have me here reviewing those movies when I do go see them. But yeah, those are my thoughts. That's why I gave it a 6 out of 10. And I feel like, honestly, a 6 out of 10 is generous. I went to see that movie knowing damn well I don't like Dakota Johnson's acting style. And I went hoping that the cast around her would help elevate her performance. And she unfortunately just dragged everybody down to her level. And that's the sad truth. Yeah. And I wish this review would have been more fun. I wish I would have been able to tell you that I had a great time. But unfortunately, the great time I had was laughing with my friends, because Chris Evans is hot and Pedro Pascal is hot. So looking at the boys and going, hee 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 hee, he's so cute. That was where the fun was had. Okay, but yeah, 6 out of 10, and that's all I have to say. So thank you all for sticking around and listening to my thoughts. If you enjoyed this type of video, please feel free to give me a like. Uh, Comment if you've seen the movie. How did you feel about it? Am I just tripping? Am I just being hypercritical? I would love to hear your opinions. But with that said, thank you all for your time today, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Deuces.